Good morning, everybody. So, today we're going to be reviewing the second test, day two, and we're going to be talking about how South Africa put themselves, I feel, in a pole position in this match. I think we put ourselves into a strong position when it comes to the game situation. We didn't take advantage of the day with the bat as I would have liked, as much as I would like. But there are maybe three performances of a year that I want to highlight from a batting perspective. And that's something that we're going to probably end the show off with. It does start with the bowling, and praise needs to go to our bowlers first and foremost because they did an exceptional job to put us into a situation where we can bat without worry and with a little bit more freedom, which I don't think we took full advantage of. But I'll get into that on today's show. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos, please. I'd also like you guys to please get involved in the comment section after this video has finished streaming. Once we end the stream, go into the comment section and comment there. I really appreciate the good comments that were made on the preview show. There has been quite a lot of engagement there, and I really enjoyed that as well. And I do think that you guys are doing a great job doing that. So please continue doing that, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching it after the fact. Please go ahead and get engaged, start engaging with the content by commenting and liking the video. Please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. So get involved right there. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing day two, the second test against the West Indies. Right now, let's get it. A very good morning and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with day two of the second test between the West Indies and South Africa. South Africa have extended their lead, and that is the major positive that I'm going to take from the second day. It wasn't all rosy though from a South African standpoint, even though we are sitting in a very decent position currently. Let me get into it and speak about what took place. So obviously, the West Indies lost 7 wickets on day one in their first innings, and they ended the day with 7 wickets down. And that was always going to be the highlight of day one, I feel, when it comes to us trying to talk about the next day's play. The aim for South Africa was always going to be about trying to dismiss the West Indies for the least amount of runs as possible and to maintain some sort of lead on day two before we go into our second innings. Now, the West Indies ended the day on 97 for 7, as I just mentioned. And South Africa were going to always try and keep some cushion on the board before they go out to bat. Now, the West Indies did really well, I feel, to try and push as close as possible to the lead. But I do feel that South Africa bowled genuinely well to try and stop them from getting too close to the lead in general. They started off extremely well, I feel. They didn't stop West Indies from passing the 100-run mark before taking their first wicket, at least. That was something that we could have done better, but we did. I think we started off really well with the ball to get initial wickets, and I think that should be praised because Rabada finally got a wicket in the match, and he deserved one throughout this game. But he finally did take one, and you could see the relief on his face when he did so. He dismissed Warwick with a very good delivery. And then Nandre Berger was back into the mix again, and he kept the pressure on the West Indies by dismissing Jaden Seals for a duck as well. And we were looking like we were going to wrap this up pretty quickly with quite a decent lead on the board, with at least obviously 60 runs, 50 runs on the board in the lead. That didn't end up happening because I felt that Jason Holder batted very well to get his half century not out. And we allowed Shamar Joseph to play freely. And he came out and he played quite freely. I mean, he batted at a strike rate of 92, and he really had a go at South Africa. And although they got very close to hitting that 150 run mark, Maharaj came in and he dismissed Joseph. And but I feel that we took a little bit too long to dismiss him. We allowed him a little bit too much freedom to knock down that deficit. But in the end, South Africa did well to dismiss the West Indies and take an okay lead. We had enough. We had quite a bit on the board. At least we had an innings of one batter on the board, at least, which gave us a little bit of a cushion and a little bit of a buffer to come out and play more free flowing. Now, we started off our innings brilliantly. I think that Tony DeZorzi and Aiden Markram are starting to build a very good partnership and understanding. And they put on a very good 79 run partnership until Tony DeZorzi kind of threw his wicket away, I would say. That's my opinion of it. He played away from his body, I feel, a little bit. And it was a basic length delivery that he shouldn't have found an edge with it. He could have left that delivery, I feel, as well. It did angle a bit, but he could have played that shot better, and it showed in his reaction. He was upset. He hit his bat and with his fist, and he looked very peeved off about it because he was very settled and he looked like he was going to go on and score another milestone for South Africa. He got 39 of 72 balls and he was looking quite comfortable at the crease. And I felt that it was a little bit of a poor shot selection that ended up helping him, obviously caused him to lose his wicket. And we were down one for 79 runs. And then Aiden Markram reached his 50. And unfortunately, and I was very happy for him because he batted extremely well. He batted with good balance and he measured his innings quite well. And I think that he deserves credit for the way that he got a milestone now finally on away soil for South Africa, breaking that hoodoo that we're talking about. But we obviously would like to see a big 100 from Aiden, and I'm sure Aiden would have liked to see a big 100 as well. And it was such a shame that Moti was the one to dismiss him, and he was the one to trap him LBW. It was a length ball on middle, and it just straightened after it pitched. But it stayed very low as well, and it sneaked under Markham's bat. And as he went to go play it, and it was plumb in front, and he was dismissed LBW just shortly after he reached that half century, which was a big shame from a South African standpoint because he was really looking good at the crease, and it was really looking like him and Tristan Stubbs were starting to build something over there, and I think that was a bit of a shame. And then we had a mini collapse. I mean, Tristan Stubbs looked good, but I don't know if this is a poor analysis or not. Maybe because I'm thinking that it is now, or being unsure that it is a poor analysis, it probably is a poor analysis. But I'm just going to give my thoughts on what I feel about Tristan Stubbs. Every time that I've seen Tristan Stubbs now for the Proteas try and play more conservative and play a little bit more, play a little bit more conservative, he seems to not really get going and score good scores. The one time we saw him play a little bit more of a natural attacking game, he went on to score half century, and that was in the series. So perhaps maybe Tristan is holding back a little bit too much when we lose wickets. Generally speaking, that's exactly the way we would probably say that he should play. From the outside looking in, we would probably said when the wicket falls, you need to consolidate yourself. You need to just step back a little bit. You need to play with a little bit more caution. But perhaps he doesn't need to fully go back into a shell. and maybe he just needs to play a little bit more free flowing from his part, from his perspective, and get a little bit more bat on ball, play a little bit more shots, and yes, play with sensibility, but not completely go into your shell. And I feel maybe he does do that a little bit. And I think that when he does that, he tends to play a loose shot and then lose his wicket cheaply, which I felt that he did here. I think it was a very loose shot to nick to the keeper. Um, it was a decent spell from Seals, and it was a good, decent delivery. That straightened off the pitch, but it was by no means a delivery that was unplayable, and it was by no means a delivery that should have caught Tristan out with 75 balls that is at the crease, after being 75 balls at the crease. So that was a little bit of a soft delivery over there. And then Timber got it for, and David Bedingham got a duck. Um, you could say for both a little bit unlucky. I think for both of them. Timba's defense, I'm a little bit worried that pad first and then bat, rather than bat first and then pad. A little misreading it a little bit. So I wasn't very happy with Timba's performance. David Bedingham, unlucky over there, inside edge onto the stubs, but um, another length ball from Seals, and he tried to defend it, but it ricocheted into the stumps. And it was a good spell from Seals that got the West Indies back into the game again. And South Africa was starting to look a little bit in trouble after that wicket. 139 for 5 after 47.4 overs. Their lead was decent. It was all right at that stage. They were getting themselves into a decent lead. Um, but still, I still feel that South Africa could have been in a much stronger position if one of those batters came off, of course. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I have to give credit, and this is why I'm going to back Calverena. Your team is in the mud, or not in the mud yet, but your team is leaning into the mud and dipping their toes into the mud. And we were at 139 for 5. And this is what generally Calverena tends to do for his domestic side. Pulls them out of a fire, pulls them out of trouble. And I think he batted extremely well. He batted sensibly, and he batted with freedom. He looks like a natural Calverena over here, and I think he managed the situation quite well. A couple of scares here and there, but ultimately 7 4s, batting at 7.42, took on the bowlers when he needed to, ran well between the wickets. I think for his half century, ending the day 50 not out, a good performance from Calverena. But now it's the big question. He needs to go. It's the big test on day 3. Start of day 3, first session. Ball's going to move a little bit, I feel, in the morning session. He needs to kick on and get a big one for South Africa. This is what we've all been waiting for. He needs to now do that. I think the 50 was enough to kind of um, give us a little bit of ammunition to defend Calverena's spot in the side, and why Coach Shukri keeps on selecting him. But a big one will put all doubters in the mud. Well, bury all doubters, I feel, if he can get a big one. If he can get a big milestone over here, get a century on the board, and another milestone under his belt, big milestone under his belt, I feel that will really put those naysayers to bed. And I have to give credit to Vian Mulder. He's come out and he supported Calverena very well. He's on 34 not out, batting decently, taking on the spinner, hitting a couple of maximums over here, playing with a lot of surety. I like the way Mulder's looking at the crease. He's looking a lot more assured with himself. He's looking a lot more comfortable at the crease. And I'm enjoying that because I really feel that that will be a massive plus for South Africa in the future. This is also on foreign soil, so it's him batting with a surety is brilliant, and also backing it up with the ball. That does it. That gives me a lot of confidence for the future of Vian Mulder. And I think Coach Shukri was right to back him in this test match and play him. And I feel that he needs that backing. He's had all the talent in the world, and now it's time for performances. And I'm hoping that he can carry on to kick on and score his first half century for South Africa in this format. That will do a world of good for his confidence. And I'm hoping that him and Calverena can really kick on because they both have the potential to really kick on. Because we are currently in a very good position on 239 in the lead. But I feel that we can really kick on and get 300 plus with these two at the crease, and that will really do us well. Because I feel that even if the pitch deteriorates and gets a little bit slower, the fact that we have Dane Piet, the fact that we have Keshav Maharaj will be brilliant for South Africa. That will put us into a very good position. We never even had the chance to bowl Dane Piet in the first on the first day. So I feel as this test moves on, the more we bat, the more the pitch deteriorates, the longer we can stay out there in the middle. And I think that should be the mentality. We should try and stay out there in the middle as long as possible and give us a full 2 days to try and bowl out the opposition. Maybe if we can bat past the just into the into the second session, deep into the second session on day 4, if we can do that, that will be brilliant for South Africa. It will give us 1.5 days to to bowl the West Indies out, which I think is enough. Try and put on as much as possible. It should be the aim. Try as bat as long as possible so that the pitch can get as much sunlight as possible. Bake down on that, crack it up a little bit, let it get a little bit rougher, let it get a bit slower, so that our two spinners can be our match winners in the second half of this game, in towards the last third of this game, you could say. And I feel that we are in a strong position, but we need to score 350 plus. I feel 350, between 350 and 380 would be perfect for South Africa, I think. And if we can get a lead of that. But I really want to see Calverena kick on, score a big one. And I want to see Mulder try and get as big a score as possible, because he deserves it. The way he's batted in this series so far, he has deserved it. A 42 in the first test, and now moving into the 40s. Now close to moving into the 40s. Deep, he's now in the middle of the 30s, going into the second test. A good showing with the bat, and I think that he deserves a good score here. So I'm hoping that him and Carl can just pick up where they left off and play as well as they have done together in this partnership. Partnership's been good so far. I'm really enjoying the way they are balancing their innings. I mean, they've got 40 on the they've got 84 not out on the board. It's the biggest partnership of the day, looking really good. So I think hope long may that continue so that we can put a nice deep big score on the board so that we have give ourselves some room to work with, to take some risks with the ball, because that's ultimately why we're going to take the wickets. I feel that we're going to have to give ourselves enough cushion so that we can take a couple of risks with the ball and try and get those 10 wickets. So let's get into the let's get into the live chat. Great work from Verena and Vian, says Burbick. Sam says solid innings from Aiden. Bavuma disappointed. Burbick says all around the pit and Burger still to come. Yay. Sam says good to see when Mulder scoring runs along with picking up wickets. Very good, and that's exactly what South Africa needs. I feel that that would be a very good partnership, 7 and 8, Marco Jansen and Vian Mulder down the line. That can be a really big asset for South Africa down the line, I feel. Really like what Nande brings with the ball. Burbick says Windies, Spacers, Seals, and Joseph, both young, bright future, hopefully. Daim says SA batters not consistent in tests since the last 5 to 6 years. And I think that's also largely due to the fact of that we don't get many chances in test cricket. I feel that every single time we play test cricket, it's like there's no momentum. It's just like all the pressure is on the players to just play out of their skins because they get so little opportunities to bat. So more test matches would obviously start to see a more consistent basis from these players, but we're almost asking for these players to just turn it on out of nowhere every single time we play test cricket because there's always such massive gaps. So I'm hoping that from this test series, heading into the Sri Lanka and then Pakistan series, at least there'll be some momentum going into those two test series, and we'll see a lot more solid performances from our test batters. And I think that that's momentum is going to be key for South Africa down the line. Rolando saying, I think SA need 120 runs to be safe. Burbick says, on Stubbs, interesting, he's nicking off for most dismissals. Watching in slow-mo, I think his bottom hand comes through a bit too much and maybe could play a little bit square. That's a good insight over there from Burbick. That's a good analysis. Sam says Coach Shukri should not release Ryan Rickleton from squad. He needs to pack him at least in squad. In Bangladesh, we have to go with 7 batters, Mulder at 8. Rolando says Markram missed out on 100. I think he was looking set to get there. I just lost a little bit of concentration over there, but also got a little bit unlucky. That ball kept very low. Burbick says Stubbs also batting right on off stump, sometimes maybe a bit outside, which could hinder judgment. Good call. I do think that he needs to work on that. Try and find a little bit. If he's going to go into his shell, he needs to find um, shots in his arsenal to try and. I feel that he needs to find the right shot selection for that style of cricket. If he feels that he needs to just sit back a little bit and be a little bit more solid for the team once we've lost wickets, I think he needs to then try and pick the shots that will be the most safe for him, because I do feel that he goes a bit hard at the deliveries that should be easy for him to connect with, and then he ends up nicking it. Sam says, what I really like from Stubbs that after coming into at the crease, he looks comfortable at starting, which hasn't done any number 3 in test. Rolando says Kyle needs to go big to cover low scores. I feel that we do, besides my little bit of criticism for Stubbs, I do feel that we found the right number 3 here. And I just feel that with a little bit more game time in this format, he's going to start finding those little nuances in his game. He's going to find those little things, that those little aspects that are going to propel him as a test cricketer. I do think that these experiences are good for him. He's starting to feel out when he can go, when he can't go, when he should consolidate, when he should play free flowing. A little bit inconsistency at the moment, but you can only expect that from a young number 3. And I think that will improve with analysis, with help from the coach, with the help from the batting coach, with the analytical team behind the scenes, the video analysts, etc. will start to give him some insight into his game. And I'm sure that he'll come good. But we need to play more test cricket. That's the problem. We can't only have two matches and then you have a break and then another 2 matches here and there. So at least we're going to get a good run of test cricket now, and he's going to get a couple of games on the trot now that he can play within that. He can get in that rhythm and start to find himself. Ran says, can you understand and speak Hindi? No, I'm not Indian, so I can't. Burbick says, yes, Sam Stubbs looks confident. I think he has got good starts too. It's always a good sign when a player does get good starts, but you shouldn't get into the habit of getting good starts and going out like Markram has done in the past quite a bit. Daim says, do you think Brzezinski deserves a chance in the team? I think right now I feel we settled. I don't think maybe right now there's a necessity for him to come through. I think Tony's been decent. Aiden's been decent at the top of the order. I feel that Stubbs is the right man. I think that Temba's the right man. He's our captain. And I do think that Kyle Verreynne and David Bedingham are good players as well. And they are the right players for our team. So I don't think there's space right now for him to come into the team. I think he needs to go play some SAA matches and be dominant over there. And it's going to be hard for him to get into the side when these players do need more game time. But I'm a big fan of him, and I definitely think he's the future for South Africa. NY Times Square, besides Verreynne and Ryan, who are the backup keepers for SA, besides Verreynne and Ryan, who's in the SAA side currently? There aren't many keepers that are knocking on the door quite yet that I feel are automatic backups. I think Tristan Stubbs can keep a bit. Um, I won't be able to answer that question. Um, it would a couple of years ago it would have probably been Senator Klashile, but he hasn't really performed in consistently enough in domestic cricket. Um, I just can't think of anybody right now, to be honest with you. I have to go check again, and nobody's coming to mind straight away because we've got like Mikael Prince as well, who's a very good player that is just starting his domestic career now and starting to find himself. Um, so besides Ryan, I can't really think of anybody else. Nobody. Grant Rulofsson is not doing enough yet, consistently enough at the Dolphins. So um, I think Munsami as well needs to be a little bit more consistent. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to maybe have a look at when it comes to that. Um, Trying to think because Northwest is Mikael Prince. Um, I just want to see who's in that SIA squad because that will give us kind of an indication. Here we go, Verena. But the problem is there, Verena is playing in the SIA team for the 1 days, but for the 4 days, um, Tatoli, Jean Duplessis, Rivaldo Munsami, September Klashile is there. You see, so same problem as I'm having. They also struggling to find a keeper for that is performing consistently enough in domestic cricket. Will SA push case in the ICC for more tests because improved financial CSA? I don't think we've improved enough yet to push for more tests quite yet. Um, I think there's still a way to go for that. Uh, we need to get to that stage. Khalid, when will T20 squad leave SA to win? Not quite sure. It should be. I think they might have already actually left. I think they'll probably have left already. I think to get ready or for that. What is everyone made of Raina's wicket keeping the series? I think it's been decent, probably about a 6 to 7 out of 10. I do feel that he's made mistakes here and there, um, but there is always room for improvement, and I'm sure he's going to go back and fix some of the mistakes he's made, etc. But um, I don't think by any means it's been a crisis we have to be worried about. I think he's been quite solid actually, with a couple of mistakes here and there. But everybody made mistakes. I mean, even Quinton de Kock made quite a few mistakes as well. So it happens. You have to concentrate for long extended periods. So I think it's been about a 6, 7 out of 10. He's wicket keeping this tour, and it can be a lot better. Rolando says Stubbs doesn't try to leave ball at all. If number 3, you should leave balls because he is sort of backup opener. He needs to push at 5, 6 if he doesn't sort issues quickly. And yeah, I feel that he can learn that as well to leave certain deliveries, not have to go after. So that's what I'm trying to say is like when he goes into his shell a little bit and he plays a little bit more conservatively, because the wickets are fallen, I do feel that he is a little bit uncertain on when to go and when not to go, when to attack and when not to attack. I feel that he needs to take that away, not think about the match too much, match situation too much, and rather read the situation, read the ball that is coming to him. Because I feel that in his nature, if he distrusts his instincts, because he's a naturally attacking player, um, he would start to attack more freely on a more consistent basis naturally. I don't think. I think maybe he's trying to overthink the match situation a little bit too much, and I don't think he needs to do that. In this team, he should leave that to the senior players to to worry about the match situation and to adapt their games. I don't think that Stubbs needs to adapt his game too much. I think his game is good enough to be able to be automatically adaptable to any conditions and situation. I feel he needs to trust his gut and play the ball on merit. And then naturally you'll know when to leave and when to go. But at the moment, I feel that it's a little bit I think it's a little predetermined. His choices that he's making with the bat. Dozorzi also good, doing quite well, good signs. Yeah, like at least he's getting a lot of good starts and then getting good half centuries. We need him to now kick on and get those big centuries. So I feel that he's getting there. Like he's in that process. He's on the brink. Um, with more game time, I feel it will come. Rolando, do you also face time zone issues in India? Matches finish 2:30 a.m. West Indies. It finishes 11 here in South Africa. And then I have to wait up for the press conference stuff that happens afterwards. So only at 1:30 a.m. do I really get the chance to unwind. Um, Daim says, how many fast bowlers in South African domestic can bowl 140 plus like Nokia? Not many. Michal Pretorius is one that hits the early 140s. Nandre Burger is another one that hits the mid 140s. You've got Gerald Kutsia that can hit 140 plus. You've got Marco Janssen that can hit 140 plus. You've got, I think, Dwan Janssen as well can hit 140 plus. You've got Levan Tanzi, but he's been very injury prone recently. I mentioned Michal Pretorius, I think, already. So there aren't many. And Mapaka's coming through the system right now as well. And I'm hoping Tristan Loose can start to eat that as well as he grows and develops. But there aren't a hell of a lot that can. But I feel that we have enough for the next few generations until we find the next Andrich Nokia that can bowl 150. Ruben Herman keeps. Yes, I think he does. But I know that um, I know that for Northwest, um, I know he's a wicketkeeper, but I think for Northwest, majority of the times, Mikael Prince keeps, and I don't think he keeps, if I'm not mistaken. When Mikael Prince plays, I think he keeps majority of the time. Let me just double check that. Um, yeah, Mikael Prince keeps for them majority of the time. Daniel Smith is a keeper as well. That's a keeper coming through. Yes, that's another keeper that is coming through. Thank you, Burbick. Sam saying, now I think there are many guys who in coming years will give tough competition for all-rounder spot in Mulder, Jason Smith, Antila, Samalani, Michlali, Tian Forrester, and move on from Pechlekwayo. I agree. Rolando says, why don't CSA push BCCI to play ODIs instead of T20s, considering limited ODIs for both teams, having few ODIs before Champions Trophy? It's all about money at the end of the day and what India also want to do, unfortunately. Tex says Tristan was too defensive in his innings. I spoke about that a little bit later. Early on, Luandre Pretorius keeper 2 for future. Yes, he is. NY Times yesterday, Markram was looking solid. I was waiting for 100, but unlucky dismissal. Maybe Tony help him to play with the soft hands. How fast does Loose bowl? I think Loose is around the late 130s at the moment. But I think he can get faster, to be honest. Sam says, what I like from these new coaches is that they are trying to give most chances to players and wanted to create pool of players for good competition, whether it is in SA or SA merging. 100%, that's exactly what they're doing. Gideon Peters bowls 140 plus. He does. He used to, I think. I haven't watched him in a long time to actually give my full assessment of him. I haven't seen him with the naked eye. Many analysts from India, Pakistan rate Kyle highly, and all of them can't believe he averages 13 tests. Yeah, that's the problem. He hasn't found his feet. And then when he did get a century, then he was dropped, and then he had to fight his way back into the team again. So it's been a little bit up and down for Kyle Verreynne, but I feel that he has a lot of potential to be a very solid player for South Africa. I'm hoping that this can be the catalyst for him. Aishel Kluti as well, 140 plus years, but he gets a lot of injuries. Mapaka is also quick. I already mentioned him. Sam's, I really want Reina Fontondo to come into Proteas setup. He is a class and also captain material for future. Yes, I agree with you, but he needs to be more consistent domestically and score big hundreds, big hundreds more often. Coach Shukri is also a big fan of his. So I do feel that if he does get into the swing of things and he starts playing more regularly and getting those big scores for his team, domestically for Northwest, then I feel that he will kick on and see the Proteas team soon. Um, I really want. Okay, Khalid, what pace does Andy Dealer Malani bowl? I've never seen a speed gun used for him, so I won't be able to tell you that. I think he's a 120 to 120, late 120s into 130 bowler, but I could be completely wrong. I should try and find that out. But I've never seen a speed gun used for him, so I wouldn't know. Now, at least SA have a good batting pool. It's been so sad since AB retired to see lack of good batsmen. Yes, we're building a very good pool of players, which I'm liking. Tex Hardy, do you with Peters and Mapaka in the line? Do you want Peters and Mapaka in the lineup? It will help with the transformation numbers with Rabada all in the lineup, so CSA don't have to worry about it. Naba Peter and I think you're talking about and Kwena Mapaka. Yes, but I do think they need some SAA game time. I do think they need. I know they're already playing. They're going to be playing this T20 series. I think they should be given a chance to play this T20 series. If they're in the squad for the T20s, give them a run out there and give them at least 2 games. Let's see what they really can do. You don't want to just take them with and then not give them a game time. I think we should experiment with the T20 team a bit. The World Cup is 2 years away. We need to build to the next World Cup. Like, don't don't overplay your players that need some rest. Like, if there's a chance now to give these players some rest before a major test tour in South Africa, 2 major test tours in South Africa, give those guys a chance. You've got now the opportunity to test some of your youngsters and see what and the new guys and see what they can do. So I would go with a fresher team in these T20s and experiment a bit. There's no necessity to win these games. It's not like a must-win series games. I want to see development over here in the series that we're playing against the West Indies. What about Ethan Bosch? I think more consistency will get him there. Now SA should start with Mulder at 7 for T20s. I don't know about that quite yet. Um, well, Quinton de Kock be ready for the Champions Trophy 25. He retired from ODI cricket, so he won't be playing in that Champions Trophy, I don't think. Big fan of Ethan Bosch. If he plays on the wicket of Centurion and Wanderers, he can single-handedly handle the opposition with his extra bounce and deliveries. But it's the other conditions that I'm worried about. Doesn't have enough, I feel, maybe in these type of conditions that we're playing with now. I don't know if he has enough on these conditions in these type of conditions. But we'll have to wait and see. 789 should be given to Mulder, Marco, and one of Kutsia Berger for 26 World Cup. Batting depth should be must in next World Cup. Yeah, we're starting to build a nice unit of a pool of players to pick from. Daim says, do you think SAT 20 squad is fairly selected on merit? I do. Let me just have a look at the squad again. I think so, yes. I do think, though, that the only issues I have over here is Riza Hendricks and Rassi van der Dussen. Now, I know they wanted to probably pick them because they want to add some sort of experience into the side. You can't just go with a completely fresh, new side. You need to have some sort of experience to level out and help the other youngsters. So perhaps that's why they're gone with Rassi and Riza. But it's now an opportunity to give some guys a chance to play. And I know there's a SAA tour happening at the same time as well. So I feel that all players that are that are I think all players have been given an opportunity that are for the future. They're all getting chances in one or other way. They're either getting chances in the T20 setup or they're getting chances for SAA. All of our players are playing competitive cricket, and having opportunities to put up their hands. This emerging team as well. They've had a great opportunity. They're playing now. So again, their third ODI. They've already won the series. So we've seen some talent come through there. Now we've extended the pool. I think this is brilliant that we've extended the pool and grown it over time now. Over a short period of time, we've now grown this pool of players that we can select from and put a little asterisk next to their names for future selections for South Africa. I think it's brilliant the way this whole setup has been run. I think hats off to Enoch Nkwe, Shukri Conrad, and Rob Walter for and of course as well. Um, we need to give Malibunga Maketa a lot of credit for the way he's been running this domestic the systems below. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I think we are doing a fine job of putting the right structures in place to find the next generation of great players. Khalid, with quality Black African players like Peters and Makbaka come through, I think it's over for Peklequayo. Yeah, we need to. Peklequayo really needs to have to play a solid cricket domestically to try and fight his way back if he wants a chance. Um, I think he needs to be at the top of his peak to try and get a chance again. Stats now show that Riza have the poorest average in T20 World Cup. Should we have new opening pair with Ryan in 2026 World Cup, or Riza Ryan should start? I think they're going to work on finding the solutions for that, and I think the right decisions will be made over time. I trust Rob Walter with that squad. Why Bjorn Fortuin, when he plays internationally, looks ordinary with no spin? Could have gone with Linda or Carl Simmons. Linda's been injured for a very long time. Carl Simmons, I still think Bjorn's a better spinner. Uh, he doesn't get as much game time as I like. Um, Sometimes it seems like he's kind of thrown in the deep end suddenly. Is Nokia interested in playing test? He is, but he's also interested in making sure that he stays healthy and fit. So he'll make the right decisions, I feel, according to his fitness and what his body can handle. It's good to have a great pool after a long time. Still, SA 20 talents have been used. This is looking great in the future. Sam says, yeah, personally, Lisa shouldn't have deserved this. If you are looking for building up in the ODIs, he must not be there. But anyway, guys, the game, the day 3 will kick off at 4 p.m. South African Standard Time. Dex asking me what's going on with Dewald. I think Dewald just needs to find his game. He needs to find some consistency. He needs to find his game, play more domestic cricket. Like I've always said, the guy needs to play more domestic cricket for the Titans more regularly and find himself as a cricketer and what he wants to be. I think there was a lot of hype around him, comparing him to AB and putting pressure on him to perform in that way, where I feel that he needs to now find his own game and the way he wants to play the way he wants to play cricket, and work on some technical flaws and grind away at domestic cricket. And he has plenty of time to become a star for South Africa. By no means is he is he losing out on opportunity in the future to play for South Africa? He's still young and he still has an ability in the future to be able to become that. You need to give him a year or 2 years in domestic cricket to really go ahead and grind away and learn about his game and become the cricketer that we know he can be. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Remember that we are playing day 3. It starts 4 p.m. South African Standard Time. So go and watch that over there. Once we've ended the stream, please get involved in the comment section and let us know your thoughts and smash the like button on the video as well. See you guys all very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll speak to you soon. 1-0 to United, like I predicted in the opening game against Fulham. Yes, for all the United fans out there. Premier League is now kicked off. I'm very excited about that. Big teams are playing today and tomorrow and on Monday. So all good to have the Premier League back. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day.